Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Stress versus Capacity. I'm super excited to spend a little bit of time with you today talking all about the difference between stress and capacity. And the reason why I wanted to do this live with you today, especially to talk about this topic, is because we're officially January 13th. We're in the new year. And a lot of the times, that flavoring of newness and dopamine of all of the goals, all of the healthy habits and hacks. So many of us are like, let's keep doing more, let's keep doing more. And we push the throttle more than what our capacity has the ability to withstand. So I'm passionate about this because being a somatic therapist and psychedelic facilitator around women embodiment, learning the difference between making choices and decisions from stress, AKA shame, and doing more versus really just getting honest about really checking in with the capacity within our own nervous system and really getting clear on how much can I hold while staying regulated. So let's get a little sciencey first. So stress, we all know that word very easily. Stress is ultimately a demand on the system. This is the system, the body. So for example, if my alarm goes off late and I have a 7 o'clock meeting and my alarm goes off at 6:30, naturally my body's going to go into a state of stress in a rush to hurry and get onto my meeting. This is where we see adrenaline and cortisol pump. Our mind is looping. We might be emotionally flooding. And this is a typical stress response. Okay. Ultimately, stress is the demand on the system for the body to do something. And a lot of the times it's do more of the thing that we're familiar with doing and/or doing things that we're not familiar with doing, but doing too much too fast. So, example, deadlines, conflict, change, pressure, emotional load, hormonal shifts, making money decisions. Lisa and I are going to be going live tomorrow talking a lot about financial decisions and how it impacts the nervous system. The reality is, stress over time, its life is asking something of you. And when we're doing too much too fast, this ultimately stays in a stress response. Now, when we think about capacity, okay, capacity is the ability to be in your nervous system to meet that demand or any demand that you might have without going into survival, without collapsing, without overfunctioning, without shutting down or reacting. I'm going to say that again. Capacity is the ability of your nervous system to meet the demand without going into survival, without collapsing, without overfunctioning, without shutting down or snapping. Now, I don't know about you, but I know stress very easily. I operated predominantly out of that for many, many, many years. And the most part that people miss is that when we get into the new year about habits, and I was just reading an article and I was writing about it in my next week's blog, is that over 85% of people that go into the new year with some type of resolution or some type of goal, by the time they hit February, they're pretty much tapped out. And the reason why that is it's you don't burn out because of stress, and you don't quit the goal or you don't quit the vision because you quit because your system, again, body, doesn't necessarily have the capacity to withstand that. So you tap out because the stress overpasses and exceeds the capacity in your body for far too long. So use this example, and I talked about this in this week's blog. I'll make sure to link it into this video. I'm the girl that starts the new year. I'm going to go to the gym 5 days a week. I'm going to wake up and meditate. I'm going to drink the greens juice. I'm going to, meditate. I'm going to go to bed at night. I'm going to write all my goals. I'm going to cut sugar out, right? Now, if I'm not doing a reality check of how my system is already operating, if I'm irritable or emotionally flooding, that goal or habit is going to snap real quick. If I'm exhausted and I'm not sleeping well, the reality of it is I'm going to tap out of those goals. If I'm overthinking or if I'm people pleasing, caring to other people, if I'm over functioning in my job, doing too much, not regulating, those goals and those visions are going to break. If I lose motivation and I don't have a desire for the very thing I said I want, it doesn't bring me joy, it doesn't feel good in my system, I'm going to tap out. So capacity is really about owning what it is that you desire and doing constant checks of, do I have capacity for this? And is this really what I want? So the reality, ladies, when you're watching this and you're going to watch the replay on this, is that more women don't need less stress. They need more capacity, and capacity is built through it's built through titration, through small steps, not necessarily through force, which is something that I talk a lot about. So again, for those of you watching this replay, living with more demand than your nervous system can hold, you will automatically default into old patterns and old strategies because you're not building more of a capacity to hold that in your system. And again, remember what capacity means. It means your body has the ability to meet the demands without going into survival. So going back to what I said earlier, let's say my alarm goes off at 6:30 and I have a 7:00 meeting. I can wake up and go, okay, you know what? I'm just going to take a couple breaths. I'm going to throw my hair in a bun, dry shampoo, put on some makeup. I'm going to take at least 5-10 minutes to do some breathing and have a sip of my greens juice and just ground right before my 7:00 call. It's very energetically different. And so that ultimately means that my nervous system has a bigger capacity to meet those demands without defaulting into survival. We see this around money. We see this around relationships. We see this around of not showing up for our self-care. And so the truth is that a lot of women are not taught this. What we are taught is to have a very high pain tolerance, have a very high threshold for dopamine, constantly doing more, all the while bypassing what our body really has the capacity for. We push through, we white knuckle, we stay busy as much as we can. But so often what we don't realize is that a lot of the habits or behaviors that got us there, that actually shrinks our capacity over time. And as we get older, for my perimenopausal and menopause women, your capacity actually needs a whole lot more tending to than if you were in your 20s and your 30s. So this invitation of why I wanted to do this live is really to help you to understand the difference between stress, it's meeting those demands, and capacity, meeting those demands without going into survival, avoidance, or collapsing. So I want to invite you personally to join my upcoming self-care challenge that kicks off January 25th. This 21-day challenge I designed with mind, body, and soul in alignment. And it's really about how can you step into creating mindset rituals around building a bigger capacity. How can you really access your body, whether it's through nourishment or movement, that also builds a bigger capacity versus push, keep going. All of my HIIT training women, all of my go hard, go big, Orange Theory people in this room, no judgment. That was me too for a long time. But how can you create a rhythm and how can you create a consistency around your mindset practices, around your body? And also, how can you access more joy and more creativity and play when it comes to accessing your soul? I talk about this all the time. 2 forms of nervous system regulation that is not talked about enough is play and stillness. We talk a lot about breathing exercises. We talk a lot about a co-regulating, snuggle with your partner, snuggle with your pet. But what we don't talk a lot about is like what sets your soul on fire? What brings play into your life? Because that actually too